We are live, and our discussion for the month, as we have been discussing around the Sustainable Development Goal, ESG, and stuff. Um, at the same point of time, when we talk about sustainability, which is the SDG goals, there is something which goes hand in hand, or I would rather say it's married. Um, the engineering part is married to the regulation part because without regulations, without understanding regulations, it's difficult to regulate the stuff. So I'll wait for a couple of minutes, I'll fetch the data, and we'll start a discussion around the same. And particularly, I'll start with the branding part, um, from the point of view of understanding how to go about creating that brand with your customer. And is it important to have intellectual property rights in the understanding of what intellectual property rights is all about in 2025 and beyond? Okay, so we'll concentrate on the discussion, but before that, when we are getting anybody on board, particularly right now we are in a gig economy. When we talk about gig economy, is the understanding of the stuff, uh, of the business from both from the goods and service point of view. For the longest time, I mean, we have to go back to the 1990s. We are on the timeline of 2025. The weather conditions is on the timeline of 2025. So, understanding that, and I'm just waiting for a few more folks to join in, just send them the message. Um, Understanding that aspect, what is important is to mitigate the current menace in every possible way, and at the same point of time there is a confusion between what is minimalistic, what has to be done, and do we need so many brands trying to solve the same issue again, which is not creating any sustainability of any sort. I'll give you an example. Let's talk about the essentials. When we talk about essentials for Homo sapiens sapiens or any other stuff, say for example, this is Starbucks sugar-free mints. So basically, these are lozenges. Lozenges is something you can just pop in for flavor, and it's like, um, I mean, it takes care for so many things. The point I'm trying to make here is this stuff can be reused. When I say how it can be reused, they have at least given the orifice. The orifice is big enough whereby you can put in your supplements, you can reuse it, and of course, to remember what to take, what not to take, you can just do the labeling here. So, this is what sustainability is all about. The brands, whether they are goods or service industry, they have to make sure that whatever they are selling can be reused. One thing is it should be reusable, so that you don't need to buy new containers. You can just reuse. um, right now this still has Starbucks peach jasmine. Once this is over, I'll put my vitamins and the other stuff take on a regular basis, because the kind of food we eat, everything is killed in terms of, we need to have the external vitamins and vitamin C tablets, stuff that is very important to keep the immunity high, and particularly from the point of view people who understand the neuron network of the Homo sapiens sapiens. So this is basically biochemistry. And if you're able to understand and appreciate it, you have to keep yourself not only hydrated, given the scheme of things, whatever happens in the world, water is very important, and clean drinking water is the need of the hour. Uh, so the point here is, whatever you are doing, whether you are doing any kind of sustainability work, it is very important from the sustainable point of view that you are delivering something which is reusable, or you make sure that a customer returns back that stuff to you so that you can use it and get into the cycle of circular economy. Okay, I have a question. Okay, how to sustain. Okay, see, when we talk about this word which you have stated here, um, this thing is not that you have to be better than the rest. It's an AI era. I think I talked about it few hours ago. Um, Real intelligence is going to work. You have to work. Okay, I'll give you an example. You cannot put all your eggs in one basket. What does that mean? That means that you have to do multiple things, so that whatever happens in any way the economy is going, you are able to sustain yourself. I'll give you an example. I can talk about my real data sets, whereby when I started my business way back, I made sure that I have work for 12 months. And the way it was done was, so I've been working for China for a very long time. I was instrumental in getting Chinese brands to India. So the Chinese New Year is perhaps in the month of Feb. So for me, that time, I was serving the other countries in terms of in the outsourcing model, and that was a model which worked perhaps from 2007 to 2013 and 14. But in the year 2014, I realized that outsourcing is not going to work, because there was a lot of infringement happening in terms of whenever you're outsourcing something, the Indian counterparts, other counterparts, they're starting doing their own business. So the thing is, it's a gig economy. It's not what you're stating. I agree to disagree. It's a gig economy. Gig economy means you have to upskill yourself and take multiple jobs, do multiple things. Another very good example is, today we have Tesla in India. I mean, I drove and stuff way back in 14, 15, 16, that time in Hong Kong. But India has been, lagging behind in terms of the regulations. It's not that the companies don't want to enter India. It is just that our regulations are such that even if we are able to enter, then there are taxes on anything and everything, which doesn't make the environment conducive. Um, Given that data set, if the country doesn't work for you, you already have options in other countries, whereby there's a lot of job opportunities in terms of whatever you're doing. And in other countries, perhaps the business owners or the Uber drivers, I mean, people own Tesla and they are driving Uber. So you can understand, they just want to understand the culture. And that is the reason it's not very conducive in India, but in other countries, perhaps it works like even the richest of the richest, they are driving Ubers and other apps, and they are having multiple businesses, multiple partnerships. And at any given point of time, even one business is not working, they are able to take the decision in real time that they move on to the next. And in the same point of time, you have to be in that understanding that how to get with the stakeholders. When I say getting hold of the stakeholders or get with the stakeholders, means that look into United Nations, just go online, Look it for yourself, whereby just upskill yourself. There are a lot of courses which are free. Do those, and then just start uh, preparing your own small frameworks, showcase that. And it's a journey, let me tell you. Don't think that day one somebody is going to come and give you offer letter. It doesn't work like that. And understand one thing: if you join, or you're able to join a big enterprise, stay with the enterprise. Don't think of leaving the enterprise. There's a very common question which is asked: where do you see yourself 5 years from now, 3 years from now? Be honest with that. If you cannot be part of the enterprise, don't enter the enterprise, because the enterprise, the company is investing a lot in you in terms of human resources, the technical house, the know-hows. And that is the reason, in the outsourcing model, there's so much documentation which is being done. So you're not only signing an NDA, but a lot of documentation is being done. And since the service industry is a mixture of goods and services, there's a lot of integration right now. So it is very important to understand that it's a kind of a cold chain. Understand that way. So there are opportunities. You just have to look for the opportunities at the right place. And please don't try to make something which is already existing in the market, and not even copying it. If you want to copy it, rather than take a license from them. Say for example, there is a business model which is working maybe in some part of the world. Shoot them an email, do whatever it takes, write them, try to have a conversation. Just tell them you need 5 or 10 minutes of theirs, and understand it, take the license, and then be part of that bigger organization. That's the only way out. um, Being an entrepreneur is really tough given the landscape right now. And for first generation entrepreneur, I would rather say just work. You have to understand and put yourself in that furnace and understand the nitty-gritties of conducting and doing a business, because doing a business in India is not very easy. uh, that being said, I wanted to discuss few of the applications. I'll just fetch those. Okay, this is a granted patent application. Let's see. It's a German application. This is. Thank you. Okay. It's this was filed in Luxembourg. The application number is LU1030880, and particularly this is for issue and communication of sensitive encrypted data. What I would suggest is, if you have any kind of computing knowledge, just get into the cyber stuff. I think that is a need of the hour, because right now this device is being given to children, adults and seniors, and there's a lot of stuff where you can always contribute. And for the right input data, definitely there are jobs available. It's just that maybe in the initial time frame you might feel the amount is low, but look at the learning. That is more important. From the point of view, once you have that learning capability, more opportunities will come your way. That's how it works. Particularly this particular application states that, just give me a moment, it is being translated from German. I am conversing in German, but not very much, but it works the way it has to. Okay. So this is particularly a method or workflow. You can look into it. So according to them, this is isolated secondary output unit. So here you can always look into what is the primary output unit. So they have divided it into two. Okay. When we talk about data, we talk about transceiver and receiver. There is another terminology which is very conversant in the patenting language, that is terminal. So when the primary is compromised, the secondary terminal is activated. The secondary is compromised, the tertiary is activated. When the tertiary is compromised, rest all are activated in all directions. That is what the basic framework of cyber is all about. That being said, this particular application talks about um, how is the response. So for the response to work in a trusted secondary output unit, it is obviously secondary will only be activated when the primary terminal is compromised. So here they are using for primary output, I mean, the standard handheld devices, which is basically it can be any kind of UI, perhaps, which is user interface, which looked from the standpoint of being there's some kind of I would say, I'm trying to use the right word here. It can be any parameter which is not sufficing the way it has to work for the primary terminal. So I'll use that word here. And it is able to handle, this UI is able to handle the encrypted messages only, never processes plain text. So this particular device is not processing. So it's another device which is in conjunction, which is not one of the main devices which Homo sapiens sapiens are using. So particularly the output secondary unit is a secure device. It has a smart card reader. It has a microcontroller, and the trusted execution environment is there. Response composition is basically how the response would be delivered in real time, or perhaps um, from time to time we have to conduct the drills. So that is why cyber drills are conducted, and I was part of it a few years back. Not a few years back, it's been a while. I mean, before lockdown. We are in 2025 right now. um, then we have unidirectional data channels. um, there's a forward path and a return path. Forward path is basically from primary to secondary. That is via optical QR codes and air gapped. Okay, here you have to see many a times the data which you are putting for the public to review, that is kind of a public ledger, any kind of data. And the data which is known to you and not known to public at large is private. So you need to, that's why different engines have different protocols. Workflow, or obviously encrypted data arrives at the primary terminal. Because I work in cyber and I was able to crack a very important, I would rather say the stakeholders are some very important people, and I was able to do that. And here a government bank was involved. So Indian government bank was involved, and the data set has been given. I'm just waiting for their reply, because many a times these cyber attacks which are done, there's always an insider. Cyber attack can never happen until unless there's an insider. That is that basic protocol. There's nothing, I mean, you watch any of these series which is shown anywhere, so it's always an insider who leaks out. So that is why selection of the people in the core group is very important. Whether we can have them in the core or not is something you need to recheck right now. Then we have display stuff, response. Okay, I'm just looking into okay, so they have these unidirectional channels, eliminates attack vectors like keyloggers and screen scrapers, minimal attack surface. Secondary unit is purpose built, reducing exploitable features. Applications is particularly in the military, finance, and the healthcare sector. um, Now, I don't want to touch base on this stuff because this is something I want to keep myself away from. Um, then definitely cryptocurrency always is part of it, where this cryptic money is coming in. So that is something one has to see. Potential implementation, optical, which is obviously quick response code. QR stands for quick response. and that is nothing but the latitude and longitude of the device, which is taken by the satellites. Acoustic ultrasonic data transfer. Hardware is Raspberry Pi Zero with E-Link display and HSM. This invention likely is claiming. I was actually reading an email also, so that's why the word invitation. The multi-step method of unidirectional encrypted message handling, the secondary unit architecture with isolated how do you demystify stuff. So that is what it is in common words. Computer program products for encoding and decoding across the air gap. Do I wish to discuss anything else in this particular application? Because it is okay. So this is German, right? So just give me a moment. I'll try and get this done. So this is the only thing I want to discuss for today, and then of course we can code things around it and see how it works for different data sets which we are preparing for different aspects to tackle the incoming stuff. We already talked about primary output unit. So unit is nothing kind of a module. We can always take unit as a module, component, element. Generally, these are the terms, perhaps, but obviously people can be their own lexicographer and come out with new words, but doing something else. Okay. The primary unit relays the encrypted second message onwards to the server or the recipient. Recipient here is the user. When we talk about the unidirectional transmission technologies, it's basically electromagnetic waves, optical LEDs, IR, then we have ultra sound waves, which is ultrasonic, vibrations is haptic, or surface vibration scanning is QR code, barcodes. They are used physically to enforce one-way communication, preventing backflow or malware infiltration. So we talk about HSM, that is basically hardware security modules. We have asymmetric encryption, symmetric encryption. Asymmetric one is RSA ECC for key exchange. Symmetric is AES for message content, and secondary output is, we talked about transceiver and receiver. So you have a receiver, transmitter, secure processor, displays, OLED. Today we are using OLED technology, that's omnidirectional. E-Ink, not ink. E-Ink for user interaction, alignment mechanism to ensure correct transmitter and receiver orientation. Okay. The IPC and the CPC for this one, just to end this, I'll probably post this somewhere. It is cryptography. IPC here is H04L9/00. Then we have for security G06F21/00. You can take it as null also. So wherever it is 0, take it as null, take it as void. These are the two key words which is coming to my head right now. Remove the word key, just use the word, that is WORD for the coding purpose. I think it's good enough to prepare the architectural framework, at least. I would, if I have to give it a number from anywhere from 0 to 100, I'll give it 6. I think for me it's 6. We can develop better protocols, much better. So keep it at 6 from 0 to 100 and build around it. And if you have any questions, just DM me on LinkedIn. I'll get back to it and prepare something around it for the use case study. Thank you for watching out the video. Have a great day ahead. We are still, like, we are in the IST time zone right now. Thank you for watching out the video.